Hello everyone, myself is Ishwar Singh, Faculty of Management, Department of Management Sciences, Technical Institute of Advanced Studies. Today my topic is scope of total income and residential status. As per the Income Tax Act 1961, citizenship of India and resident of India both are the different concept. Tax is charged on the total income of the person and the total income will be calculated as per the income tax law. But without determining residential status of a person, it is totally worthless. So residential status of a person is very significant from the viewpoint of the income tax law. Citizenship of India does not play any role for taxation purposes. Residential status is only considered for computing total income and the tax of the person. Income tax law has divided income into the 5 heads. Number 1, income from salary. Number 2, income from house property. Number 3, income from profit and gain from business and profession. Number 4, income from capital gain. And the 5th head is known as that is called as the residual head. It is called as the income from other sources. But whenever we are going to calculate income under these 5 heads, it is very important. First of all, we need to calculate residential status of a person. As per the income tax law, person is defined in various categories, like whenever we are talking about individual, HUF, firm, AOP, company and every other person. So now we are going to start how would you calculate residential status under different categories such as individual, HUF, firm, AOP, company and every other person. All taxable entities are divided in the following categories for the purpose of determining residential status: an individual, a Hindu undivided family, that is called as a HUF, a firm or an association of person, a joint stock company and every other person. Tax is charged on the total income of an SSC. Under the provisions of Income Tax Act 1961, the total income on each person is based upon his residential status. Section 6 of the Income Tax Act 1961 divides the assessable person into 3 categories. One is called resident, resident but not ordinary resident and non-resident. The concept of residential status has nothing to do with nationality or domestic of a person. An Indian who is a citizen of India can be a non-resident for income tax purposes, whereas an American who is a citizen of America can be a resident of India for income tax purposes. So residential status of a person depends upon the territorial connections of the person with this country, that is for how many days he has physically stayed in India. The residential status of different types of person is determined differently. Similarly, the residential status of the SSC is to be determined each year with reference to the previous year. Residential status of the SSC may change from year to year. What is essential is the status during the previous year and not in the assessment year. Residential status of an individual. First of all, we are going to calculate how would you calculate residential status of an individual. Before calculating residential status of an individual, there are some conditions which are prescribed by the income tax law. First of all, an individual can be resident and ordinary resident in India and resident and not ordinary resident in India, and number 3, non-resident in India. So resident and ordinary resident. As per section 6 subsection 1, section 6 subsection 1 clause A, to determine the residential status of an individual, section 6 subsection 1 prescribes 2 basic conditions. An individual who satisfies and fulfills any one of the following 2 basic conditions, then that individual is called resident under the provisions of this act. These basic conditions are as follows. Basic condition number 1, if an individual has to become resident of India during any previous year, then her personal stay in India during that year is must, although the number of days of stay differs in the 2 conditions. It means that if an individual does not stay in India at all in any previous year, then he cannot be a resident of India in that year. In simple words, whenever we are going to calculate resident of an individual, a person, an SSC must satisfy one of the two basic conditions. Number one, he must stay in India for at least 182 days or more during the relevant previous year. Or if he does not satisfy this condition, then he must stay in India for 60 days during the relevant previous year and 365 days out of the 4 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. So these are the two conditions of an individual. These conditions are known as a basic condition. The period of 182 days need not to be at a stretch, but physical presence for an aggregate of 182 days in the relevant previous year is enough. The status of resident is not linked with any particular place or town or house. The onus to prove the number of days of stay in India lies on the SSC. It is for him to prove if he desires to be taxed as a non-resident or not, or is as a resident. So it is very important while calculating residential status, an SSC must satisfy one of the two basic conditions, like we have discussed about one condition in which the 182 days stay in India must be there, or if an SSC does not satisfy the condition of 182 days, then he must stay 60 days during the relevant previous year and 365 days out of the 4 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. So it is very important. A person may be frequent visitor to India. In his case, the residential status will be determined on the basis of his presence in India for 365 days in 4 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Along with this, his presence for 60 days, whatever we have discussed now, 60 days it is must. So whenever we are going to calculate the status of the residential status, in case of the resident, one of the two basic condition is must. But there are some exceptions to this rule, Rule 6 of the Income Tax Act 1961. For example, for Indian citizen going abroad on a job or as a member of the crew of an Indian ship, or for an Indian citizen and a person of Indian origin under section 6 subsection 1. So it is very important whenever we are talking about the exception cases. So under the exception cases, only one basic condition will be applied. A person must be resident in India or must stay in India for 182 days. Actually, we are talking about the resident in such conditions. So it is very important. Number one, if a person is an Indian citizen who is going abroad for a job purpose. Number two, he is a member of a crew of an Indian ship, or he is a Indian citizen and a person of the Indian origin. So in this case, only one basic condition will be applied, and in this case, the SSC must stay in India for at least 182 days or more during the relevant previous year. Now in case of an individual, we have discussed about the resident, how a person will become a resident. For example, an individual who does not satisfy any of the basic condition, in this case, we must remember one thing. If an SSC or a person does not satisfy one of the basic condition, he will not be a resident. In this case, he will be called as a non-resident. But if an individual satisfies one of the basic condition, so we need to go in second step. And in the second step, we will try to calculate whether an SSC, in case of an individual, he is an ordinary resident in India or not. As per section 6 subsection 6, an individual who has resident under section 6 subsection 1 and who had satisfied the basic condition, so in this case, he or she can claim the beneficial status of ordinary resident, but in this case, he will have to satisfy two additional conditions. For ordinary resident, it is very important an individual must satisfy or fulfill the two additional conditions. What are two additional conditions? It is very important. Number one, an SSC must be a resident in India for at least 2 years out of the 10 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. And number two, an SSC must stay in India for at least 730 days out of the 7 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. So we must remember one thing: in case of an individual, an SSC who satisfies one of the basic condition and two addition condition, so that person or SSC will be called as a resident and ordinary resident in India. But if an individual who satisfies one of the basic condition but does not satisfy both the addition condition or satisfies one of the addition condition, in this case he will be called as a resident but not ordinary resident. For ordinary resident, it is very important, we must keep in our mind, for ordinary resident an SSC or a person must satisfy two additional conditions. In brief, ordinary resident, for ordinary resident satisfying one of the two basic condition given under section 6 subsection 1 and satisfying both the additional condition under section 6 subsection 6 clause A and B. For not ordinary resident, an SSC must satisfy one of the two basic condition under section 6 subsection 1 and satisfying none or any one of the additional conditions. Now the case comes of non-resident, because we have discussed about resident and ordinary resident, resident and not ordinary resident. We have described about what would be the definition of the resident under the income tax law, what would be the definition of the resident and ordinary resident and not ordinary resident. Now it is very important, and a person will be called as a non-resident. Section 2 subsection 30 of the Income Tax Act 1961, an SSC who does not fulfill or satisfy one of the two basic conditions given in section 6 subsection 1 clause A or B would be regarded as a non-resident SSC during the relevant previous year for all the purpose of this act. Now, residential status of HUF firm AOP. It is very important because up to this stage we have discussed about how would you calculate the residential status of an individual, where the basic condition and the additional conditions are prescribed by the income tax law. Now it is very important, we are talking about residential status of an HUF firm AOP. Section 6 subsection 2 of the Act provides that status of these persons shall be determined as per the condition given under section 6 subsection 2. It means that if an HUF firm AOP is controlled from India even partially, it will be resident. The control and management of affairs refers to the controlling and directing power, the head and the brain of the head of the family. It means that the important decisions are very important for taking any kind of business affairs, and it must be important. Such kind of the decision, control and management means de facto control and management and not merely the right to control or manage. In HUF case, so it is very important, a person will be called as a resident. So in case of the Hindu undivided family firm association of the person, so we must remember whenever we are talking about the resident and non-resident. So you should remember whenever we are talking about the residential status of an HUF firm association of person, it must be remembered that if the control and management of the affairs of the business, whether partially or wholly, is controlled in India, then such HUF firm AOP will be called as a resident in India. But in case of the non-resident, so section 2 subsection 30 states that a HUF firm AOP shall be called as a non-resident if the control and management of its affair is situated wholly outside India. But we must remember, like we are talking about Hindu undivided family. So in case of the Hindu undivided family, section 6 subsection 6 clause B states that an HUF will be called as a ordinary resident or not ordinary resident. So the conditions are same, like in case of an individual where we have satisfied additional condition. So similarly in case of an HUF, whenever HUF wishes to become ordinary resident and not ordinary resident, it is very important the condition is same as in case of an individual. It means if an HUF wants to become ordinary resident in India, he must satisfy two of the additional condition. Number one, he must be stay or whenever we are talking about decision, Karta has taken the decision, managers has taken the decision, but it is very important. The Karta has stayed in India for at least 2 years out of the 10 previous year, immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Or second condition is that while determining the residential status of a firm or HUF, it should be noted that residential status of partners or co-partners of a HUF is of immaterial consideration. What is important to note is that from where the business is being controlled, so there may be the situation where all the partners of a firm are resident in India, but even then that the firm may be non-resident if its full control and management lies outside India. So it is very important whenever we are talking about the Hindu undivided family HUF firm or AOP, it is very important if the control and management of its affairs is completely totally situated outside India, then he will be known as a non-resident. So in case whenever we are talking about the residential status of a company, it is very important. An Indian company is always resident of India. But whenever we are talking about the foreign company, so we must remember in case of a foreign company, so whether the important decisions, whether a company, when a company is known as a foreign company, so foreign company will be known as a non-resident in India if its control is partially or wholly situated outside India. So in case of an Indian company is always resident of India, but whenever we are talking about companies other than Indian company, we must remember if such kind of the company is wholly situated in India, then he will be called as a resident in India. If it is wholly situated outside India, then he will be called as a non-resident. If it is even partly situated in India and partly outside India, again it is called as a non-resident. In case of a company can never be a ordinary or not resident in India. Now, last important point is residential status of every other person, section 6 subsection 4. As per the Income Tax Act 1961, every other person is resident in India if control and management of its affairs is wholly or partly situated within the India during the relevant previous year. On the other hand, every other person is non-resident in India if control and management of its affair is wholly situated outside India. Now it is very important, we have discussed about the residential status. Thank you very much.